There we go.
Hello.
I'm in.
All right.
Ready to go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smack Talk. Final free agency preview of the 2020 offseason. A night late.
Indeed.
Because I had to go and do my parently duty. You can go watch my daughter perform and play. So shout out to Jordan. They did a great job last night.
Awesome.
So that's why we're a day late. So that is not me. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. So,
that's right.
Again, I am the coach along with Lone Wolf, and there's a lot going on in the NFL today.
Yes, quite a bit actually.
So we will get through the divisions, and hopefully we'll have some time because there could be there's been some pretty big stories that have come up the last couple of days that I think we should touch on, just so we don't fall too far behind with that news.
Like Tony Romo's huge deal.
That one I didn't. I just saw a headline, so you'll have to take the lead on that.
Okay.
When we get to it, because I was at our girls basketball team first playoff game. I just got home, so but starting next week, it is going to be a main focus on college basketball.
That's right. Yeah.
So, in that, we'll
looking forward to that.
Pretty much engulf March for the most
right.
part.
Well, so, that's March. I mean, there are other things in March, but really, it's about college basketball.
There's nothing really else going on in March. I mean,
all right, yeah, let's be fair. Yeah,
let's be fair. You got the NHL, which I don't know how that.
And the NBA. I mean, both of those. Yeah, they're going on, but really, people are watching, but they're not as heavily invested as they are later on with those sports. So
right. So
yeah.
So there we have it. So we'll jump right into it. We'll start with the NFC East. Finish with the division of the Super Bowl champions.
West, NFC West.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, West.
Yes.
It's been a long week. So let's see.
We'll start with the NFC West. Yeah.
NFC West.
Yep.
And let's see, the bottom of that division, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
What to say about the Cardinals?
Well, I think it's an interesting team, don't you think? I mean, this division has a lot of pretty decent teams in it. And they're probably the most intriguing out of the four, I would say. Right? I mean, we don't quite know where Kyler Murray's going to be next year or where this team is going to be next year. It's one of those where you could see them go, they could rise, or I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. They need to add some pieces to get better, but it's a heck of a very competitive division that they have to deal with.
Right, and that I think is the issue for them. You got obviously the 49ers, the Seahawks.
Right.
The Rams are no slouch.
Right.
So you really have an uphill battle here.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, yes, had a good rookie season.
Yep.
They still.
It wasn't phenomenal. It was good. Yeah.
Right. It was good. It was a good rookie season. It wasn't something like, wow, look at this guy. Tom Brady or Fred Favre or Rodgers, Peyton Manning. But
yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Season.
Yep.
I just think they're void of talent. You're still banking on, they convinced Larry Fitzgerald to come back yet again.
Fitzy, he's never done.
I don't know. They have both $40 million available in salary cap space.
Mm-hmm.
So they can make some moves. They're going to have some draft picks, but I don't know. I'm not sold on them being much better next year.
Right.
It's really going to depend on if you get an offensive line.
Yeah, that's one of the
then,
biggest needs they have in the offseason is the offensive line.
Yeah, they have to get back to being able to run the football.
Right. Yep.
And if they can do that, to kind of take the off of Murray, maybe they can sniff the 500 mark next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you have any other thoughts on the Cardinals.
I mean, I think defensively they obviously had my guy who I said should be the defensive player of the year, but outside of that, they still have some pieces and some holes to fill there too. Probably really in the secondary. And then offensively definitely need more talent, but talent is one thing. If you don't have a great line, especially in that division, you are not going to win. So they better address their offensive line. It's probably their key priority in the offseason because you have the quarterback of the future. You know that right now. He played well enough for you to say that after year one. So you better protect him. You better get a good offensive line up front.
Right. And so we'll see how they do. I mean, not sold on Kingsbury as an NFL coach.
Yeah, neither am I. Yeah.
I think he's a short-term thing to get that team sort of on the cusp, and then they're going to bring in somebody to take them to the next level.
Right.
That's kind of how the league is. They bring in a young coach that they can pay a modest amount. Get the excitement back up, get some young guys in there, and then when the young guys are about to hit their prime, say, "See you later. We're gonna bring in this guy that we think that can win us a Super Bowl."
Yeah, kind of like the Panthers kind of did that, with this whole college coach thing. Yeah.
So, moving along, the Los Angeles Rams. To me, I think their big free agents deals are starting to come to bite them in the rear end.
Yeah, big time.
to be nice. I said this as soon as they started signing those guys the year they went to the Super Bowl. I said this is make and break. They're going to have 1 or 2 years, and then they're going to go back into kind of I don't know if it's a rebuild mode, but it's kind of a renovation mode, I'll say. Because you have now a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Do they have the talent there to contend for the division? I don't think they do.
No.
They don't have a lot of salary cap space, around $20 million.
Right.
They're saddled with a huge contract they gave Todd Gurley, which when they
looks like it might have been a mistake, depending on how things
when
play
they
out.
signed that, when they gave that to him, I knew that it's not against Gurley. You get your money. I've said that before. Get your money.
Yep. Totally agree.
Team's willing to pay you. Take the money. I put this on the Rams front office. They should have done their due diligence and looked at it. He, even though he was a young running back, he's had multiple knee issues all the way back to college.
Yep.
And that's going to take life off of his career. I don't care what our medical science is these days. You tore ligaments in your knee.
Right.
It's taking life off of your body to play in the NFL.
Especially when, and they relied on him so much, first in the original Jeff Fisher offense that he was in, and then he was kind of, I guess, maybe misused there and wasn't used properly. But, in the Sean McVay offense, especially the resurgent year that he had, I mean, they used him constantly, and that wears on your body no matter what anybody says. So they just feel like a team to me that you hit it on the head. You know, that was their year to make it or break it when they brought in a bunch of people, and they fell short to the Patriots in that Super Bowl. And now I feel like, you know, last year they had a decent amount of talent and they tried to kind of patch things together to fall at 9-7. But I feel like they're going to take another step back this year and be even worse. Yeah.
You know, and that either the talk right now is that they're looking at possibly trying to trade Gurley.
Yeah.
But who's going to want him?
Right.
High salary cap number, hasn't really produced the last year and a half now, and he's getting to that age. Let's be honest.
Right.
Again, this is the life, the current life of an NFL running back. This isn't back in the 80s when a guy could have a 10, 12-year career.
Right. And that's not the focal point of most teams these days.
Right. So, and you know, I just don't think they're going to find anybody that's willing to give up anything for Gurley at this point. Because if you
maybe something, but not what they really probably want for the amount that they paid the guy.
But to be honest, with his cap number, I mean, you're looking at, even if they're willing to take a 7th-round draft pick, you're getting a huge cap hit.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. You Good point.
If you just if it's known that the Rams want to trade him, teams are just going to sit back and say, if you can't trade him, that means if you want to trade him, that means you want the cap space.
Right.
So that means you're cutting him. Why would we give you anything?
Anything at all? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Cut him. We'll get a deal with him at a cap-friendly number, and maybe he can revitalize his
one
career.
One year, you know, $4 million or something ridiculous, you know? Yeah.
So, I don't know. I agree. I think the Rams, unfortunately, are going back to the Rams of old.
Yeah.
And
you know, we talked a lot about Todd Gurley here, but you know, there's a lot of other issues I think that they have. You know, secondary is not that good. You know, and they're going to have to probably pay Jalen Ramsey quite a bit of money, I would think, right? I mean, I don't think he was on, you know, they just brought him over, but now they're going to have to pay him, I think, or not. But if you let him walk, then your secondary is horrible. And I don't know, this question is still out there. Is Jared Goff really your guy? Has he played well enough to be the guy? I don't think so.
I said this even when they're making the Super Bowl run. He is not a top tier NFL quarterback. He is a manager. He's a manager. Yeah. He's kind of like a Ryan Tannehill. He's got to be in that right system. And when they made it to the Super Bowl, they could run the football.
Yes, they could. Yep.
And then
their defensive line was stellar.
Right. He is not going to win you games.
Right.
He's not going to win you games. So, yeah, I agree. I think I would not be surprised. And I don't even know. I would have to look at, you know, we'll look at that when we do the draft preview. I don't even know what their draft picks are because they were trading draft picks like candy for these guys.
That's true. That's another issue that they had too. Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. Unfortunately, if you're a Rams fan, you could be looking back when they were playing at the Coliseum and they were horrible, and you couldn't even give tickets away.
Right.
And then Sean McVay's going to look like a chump instead of the next Brian,
genius.
You know, the next Brian Belichick. So.
Bill Belichick.
Bill. Jeez, man, I cannot think today.
You are off today, man. Yeah.
Today. I am very, very off today.
They don't even have a pick until round 2, it looks like.
And that might be for the next couple of years.
Yeah, 2020, if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like this is a mock. Round 2 at pick 52 is their first pick.
Wow.
Round 3 at 84, they have 3 4th rounders, a 6th rounder, and a 7th rounder.
Wow.
And
Unfortunately,
in
sorry.
2021 they have a second, a third, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh, and that's it. 5
Yeah,
picks in 2021.
they're hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have salary cap space. You don't have draft picks.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They are in
They're in
deep
trouble.
trouble. Yeah.
I could definitely see maybe not this season, but next season,
Mm-hmm.
them and the Cardinals flip. In the standings.
I
In
almost
that
think
in
maybe
that
it'll happen
division.
this season. I mean, I could see it.
Yeah, it
I
could
mean, they
happen.
still have talent, but yeah, it's just a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, like I said, unfortunately, Rams I think are in some trouble here.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Well, and they
you know
just don't have the cap space or the ability to do what they need, and unfortunately, they're in a position where they need offensive line help too, um, at a couple spots. Not the whole offensive line, but at a couple spots. And so then, where do you get that from? I mean, you can't even draft it. What are you even supposed to do with that? I mean, you have a limited ability to be able to complete that and stay competitive in that division.
I would see them probably trying to target some older
Yeah,
free agent guys to come on
yeah,
in 1 year deals, league mins, maybe 1.5, 2 million a year, for 1 year, patchwork it the best they can. But I really think this was a horrible job by their front office by putting
yeah,
that organization in the situation they're in. And that was the talk when they made a Super Bowl run. Oh, every team's going to be doing this. They're going to be just loading up for one big run. No, not every
no,
team does that.
no. Why
Um,
would you do that? Yeah,
there's a sector out there in the NFL that's how they think. But I'm
sure,
sorry, if you're a fan, do you want to see your team go to the playoffs and the Super Bowl once every 20 years
right.
because you are horrible, 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 stock up all these draft picks and all this money, and then just build a really good team for hope, or do you want to be competitive for 20 years?
Consistently, right?
You, you
Yeah,
know, um, so we'll
yeah,
see what happens there. I think if they fall to the bottom of that division, there could be some fallout there.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I think
all
that
throughout
starts
the
in the front
organization.
office, honestly. But
You would think.
maybe McVay, but I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be in the front office
I'll
first.
tell you what. If they had fired McVay after what he was able to, even though it was a very talented team, a team will snatch
Yeah.
him up in a heartbeat.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah, yeah.
So, well, let's move on to the Seahawks.
Yep.
Like I said, there's a lot to get to tonight. Um, Seahawks in a pretty good position financially, almost 60
Mm-hmm.
million in cap space. You got Russell
Yep.
Wilson under contract.
Yep.
A lot of their issues this year, I think, were injury related.
Yeah, they had a lot of injuries. Yeah, yeah.
I do think they need to add some help on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they have some nice young talent on offense at running back and at receiver.
Yep.
They could look at possibly adding a tight end to help Russell Wilson out.
Right.
But
I,
I
I
think
think offensively they're kind of they're close.
I think they're
Yeah.
close. Defensively, they need to really fortify that defense. As no longer the
Yes.
Legion of Boom.
No, hasn't been for
Far
a
from it.
while now. Yeah.
And if they can do that, they have the money to add a couple playmakers.
Sure.
If they do that, they should have beat San Francisco in that second game last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a weird end of that game.
It really was. Yeah.
But so I wouldn't say San Francisco is going to run away with this division.
No, not at all.
And I really like John Snyder as a GM. I think he
Yeah.
does a great job of managing the cap, not overpaying for guys.
Mm-hmm. Letting guys walk when they need to walk.
Yep. And I really think he finds those diamonds in the rough in the draft. So I really like the Seahawks. I was never a really big Marshawn Lynch fan or a Richard Sherman fan because I'm not big into the guys that do a lot of talking. My philosophy is shut up and play. Let your play do your talking. But
Yeah.
I really like how the organization is ran.
Yeah.
The question is, a couple questions come up. How long is Pete Carroll going to stick around because of his age?
Right.
He's kind of like
he's the oldest or one of the oldest coaches in the NFL. So
he does the guy age?
I don't know. It doesn't look like it.
I mean, seriously, you bring up a picture from when he was back at USC to now, and it almost looks exactly the same.
Right.
So
he might have cut his hair. I don't know, but yeah, maybe.
But I tell you what, he could chew some gum.
Yeah, he's got that down.
I don't know. I really like the Seahawks. I think they're in a good position there, moving forward.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, this is a team that, this year I said I felt that, and I know why he wasn't, but I felt like Russell Wilson was the MVP, and mostly because, and I understand what took place in the league and why the MVP was the MVP, but I look at guys who carried their team more than anyone else, and with all the injuries the Seahawks had, Russell Wilson definitely did that. But for him, what position would they have been in? If they had to have somebody else as their quarterback with that team, it just wouldn't have been the same team in any of those games that they had, especially late in the season when, they're bringing Marshawn Lynch out of retirement to be their running back because they're that thin at running back. I mean, it's bad, so I think that I agree. I think offensively, their offensive line isn't bad. I think they do need a tight end. I totally agree with that. The Jimmy Graham experiment for them failed pretty much the same way it failed for Green Bay. It just didn't really work out. They never really clicked there exactly. They need someone else. They had Luke Wilson or whatever, but that didn't. He's just not, a huge playmaker. They need a good tight end, and there are some free agents I think defensively that they might be able to target. Like Bud Dupree's out there. I don't know if there's any other guys who they might look at and try to bring in. But like you said, they have the money to be able to do that. And Snyder, he continues to impress. He always seems to find a way to figure things out, cap wise, free agent wise, draft wise. Obviously every GM has misses in the draft, but he's done a good job overall, and he's sustained success. This is a team that, I think a lot of other teams in the league could model themselves after with sustainability and consistency, because that's what you need to really, you found a franchise quarterback, you have a GM, same coach. It's been successful because of all of those things. So I think, they're going to be competitive in the West, and they could win it again. Or, well, I should say again, they didn't win it last year, but they could win it for sure.
Right. And, again, I can't think of his name. The D end came over from the Texans.
Oh, Jadeveon Clowney, yeah.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Right.
So they'll have to either decide to re-sign him or move on.
Sure.
But
and I don't know that they do. I mean, he may end up getting a lot more money from somebody else, right?
Right, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we're both in agreement. We like the Seahawks. We like where they're at moving forward. Takes us to the NFC champion, Super Bowl runner-up, San Francisco 49ers. They are tight with cap space. So we got under 20 million available. They got some key free agents. I'm actually kind of concerned for them. Unless they have a way of, you know, cutting some guys or some contracts that are coming up that haven't fallen off that salary cap yet. They're going to have to make some decisions. Because, you got Kittle. That's going to be out there. For free agency, which is their big one.
Right. Well, and Eric Armstead too.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
so you got some key guys there that are free agents, and I just don't know if they have the money to pay them. They obviously could use an upgrade at running back.
Yeah.
The
outside of the Mostert game against the Packers, they didn't really run the ball. I mean, they ran the ball effectively. We talked about this at length with the system, not the running backs they had. It's the Kyle Shanahan system, yeah.
Right, and so I don't know. I'd like to say that yes, they are gonna repeat things like that.
Sure.
I just don't know, to be honest.
I think for me, I look at it and I see where you're going with it. I think that they're poised to take a step back. Sometimes the Super Bowl loser takes a step forward, and like the Rams took a step back. This team, I don't think they're going to take that kind of a step. Like the Rams took a big step back. I could see this team taking a small step back because I think John Lynch did a really nice job of putting this team together, and they built themselves around the line play. And when you build yourselves around line play, if you have good offensive, defensive lines, I just don't see them not being competitive. But they have some issues in terms of skill positions, and I think that makes them a little bit more vulnerable to not being as good. They'll still be competitive. It's a 10-win team, I think, no matter what. But is it a 13-win team? I don't know about that. I don't think so. It depends on, if they lose a couple of guys in free agency, those guys can make a difference.
Right, and that's the thing. Will they fall completely off the face of the earth? No, that's not going to happen. But, I think Seattle overtakes them.
Right.
I think that they're going to have that first place schedule. You don't have cap to re-sign both your big time free agents that are out there.
Right.
I think it is going to be one of those where they do take that step back by maybe a game or two, but that's enough for Seattle to overtake them. And they go from the number 1 seed down to the 5-6 seed in the NFC. The NFC is that competitive. I don't think that they can,
sustain, basically. Yeah, they can't stick at that level. Yeah.
So,
well, and isn't it Manuel Sanders? Isn't he a free agent too?
Yeah, he'll be a free agent. But I think he likes it in there. He might take, he's getting up there kind of in his career. He's made his money.
Sure.
He might be one of those guys that takes less money to stay in San Francisco.
Sure.
But we'll see.
It's a competitive team. Yeah.
Right. Does he want money or does he want another Super Bowl?
Right. So, yeah.
That will be the question.
Yeah, it'll be hard to say. I don't know. I mean, but yeah, I agree. I think they're just in this position where it's hard. You have that hangover from the Super Bowl. You want to be competitive. You want to get back there. They're good, and they'll be good this year. But yeah, I think I agree. It's going to be well, and I don't know. We might differ on this, but I would say Seahawks, Niners, Cardinals, Rams.
Yeah, I mean that definitely could be. Again, I wouldn't disagree with that. depending on what the Rams do and what the Cardinals
Mhm.
do in free agency, it would tell me where they're going to land there.
Yeah.
It really all depends.
That's just a gut feel for now. I mean,
right.
not draft. We haven't gotten to the free agents yet, but just that's my feeling.
So, well, there you have it for the NFC. So, I guess quick wrap up of the NFC.
Yep.
We kind of are in agreement with a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Where they're at. But everything's going to change in a couple of weeks as free agency gets started. And then, combine's going on right now. And then,
Yep.
again, we will, even though we're going to be talking about NCAA football or NCAA football, geez,
Basketball.
Man. NCAA basketball.
Yeah, not football yet.
We'll be in the background. We'll be preparing our draft special because literally, as soon as the NCAA tournament gets done, we go on the draft preview.
Oh, right. I mean, yeah, beginning of April. That's when we're looking at the end of NCAA basketball. We got to jump right into the draft. So
right. So a lot's going to change in the next month.
Yeah.
With a lot of these teams, some teams it won't change at all because they stand put. But it's always interesting to see what happens there. So,
but I think just as a takeaway for the NFC, you and I can both agree we see a different team than the 49ers coming out of that, in the long run. And we'll talk about that more, but at least for right now, that's kind of the feeling we're getting.
Right. I think the Eagles still control the East. The Packers still control the North.
Right.
I think we're gonna see a surprise in the South.
Yep, me too.
and I think the Seahawks reclaim the East or the West.
The West.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. Yep.
I need to get my head in the game.
You need to get out of the NFC East. That's what you need. I don't know what your problem is, but
that
it's the worst NFC division.
that was the worst division in football right now. But
yeah, I know.
that they got my mind all wonky and stuff because
it's all messed
the
up.
news is coming out of.
Right, exactly.
So let's hop over to the AFC. The AFC West.
Yes.
All right. So we got. I mean, let's start with the Chargers.
Sure.
I mean, it's a toss-up between the Chargers and the Broncos. Let's see. Let's look at their cap, where they are with cap space.
They have a lot of cap room, I think, right?
They have $51 million in cap space.
Okay.
Obviously, they need a quarterback.
Right.
I think they're going to need a running back too. I do not think Melvin Gordon will be back. I think that this team went from a possible surprise Super Bowl contender 2 years ago to total rebuild mode.
Right.
I think you could see that writing on the wall here for this rebuild mode. I think it was a mistake for them to leave San Diego. To be honest. But that
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
Their decision. It's the owners felt they needed to do it. I think they could have got something worked out because they're already talking about how they're not like how they're being treated. In talks with the new stadium. It's like, what are you gonna do?
What do you go back to San Diego? I mean, what are you gonna do? Yeah,
you're gonna start being like the Raiders were, Los Angeles Oakland. You can't do that.
No, you can't.
So they have a lot of needs.
They do. Yes. Yeah.
They have cap space. They have a decent first-round draft pick this year.
Yep.
I'm not really high on Anthony Lynn as a head coach.
Yeah. He hasn't quite showed it to me yet. Not really.
The only, I guess, caveat that they have is that they're going to be playing a weak schedule next year.
Right.
Strength-wise, the way the NFL set up, where they could get maybe another win or two more. But I think they're insane. Besides cap space, I think they're in a better position in the long run than the Rams are.
Right. Yep. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, the
But I
other
think
LA team. Yeah.
unfortunately, Los Angeles, you're not going to have a Super Bowl champion football team for
In
a
either one.
long,
Yeah.
long time. And you can take that one to the bank. If either of those teams wins the Super Bowl in the next 5 years, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on the Chargers. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Well, I would just say, one thing you said I want to touch on, because we could talk about a lot of different positions that they need to fill, skill positions, line positions in terms of pressuring the quarterback or linebackers. But I think, Phillip Rivers is that whole thing. So that they need a franchise quarterback, right? That's the key thing. So really, that's what they're going to be looking for. And if you don't have that in the NFL, then you have to build a team that doesn't have a franchise quarterback. So there's a couple of teams that have models right now. Like the Titans were successful, and Tannehill's not. He's not the guy to go out there and win you every single game. He's not, your franchise quarterback. So that, you could do that, but the Chargers have so many needs that they can't put somebody in there right now and expect that that's going to happen. So I think either they replace Phillip Rivers and they find a good replacement for him. And maybe they make some moves in the draft to move up and try to draft a guy who could be that guy, who could be that franchise guy. I don't know. That's a possibility. Or I don't see them going out with their cap money and doing that. I think they're going to have to bring in a free agent here and there, maybe a corner or an offensive lineman or something like that. I don't know if they want to do that with their money, but that's my thought on the Chargers. I think they're going to have to find a franchise quarterback, and that's probably going to be one of the biggest things they do in the offseason.
Yeah, and I agree. I think they'd be smart to build that offensive line, draft a young quarterback. Maybe, if you can find a cheap veteran quarterback to come in for a year or two.
Yeah.
Just to keep you competitive. But I just don't know. I don't know if I trust the Chargers to make those moves.
Right.
Again,
not
a lot of my stuff is I look at the history of the moves that teams make, and I just don't like the history that of the Chargers. They just don't give me that confidence that that they're gonna do the right thing. So
right. Yep. No, I hear you. Yeah.
So we will see as we move forward.
Yep.
But moving on to the other bottom half team of that division, the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Do they have the franchise quarterback? I think I know that we're talking free agency.
Right. Big question there.
They have to decide if they have their franchise quarterback in the there now that they can develop, or if they have to find one. They are. Let's see, Broncos. Right now, they have some decent money, $60 million available.
Okay.
They traded away some veteran guys. You can definitely see they're turning that roster over. The question is, will ownership be patient enough with Elway and the other, and the coaches to rebuild this organization so for the long-term success, because you can see what Elway's doing.
Right.
He's not going
Right.
out there and patchworking this thing together to get that 1 year run.
Nope.
He's trying to build it where they were before they went and got Peyton Manning, where they were always in the top 2 in that division, and they were in the
Right.
playoffs, and
Yep.
they, he went out, got Peyton Manning to get him over the hump. Hey,
Exactly.
it worked pretty well. They went to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them.
Right.
So I like the route they're going. The question is, do they spend their money the right way? In free agency, obviously, I think they really need to start looking at more youth on their defense, because though it is a good defense, it is aging. You still have guys from the Super Bowl championship team on that defense.
Yeah.
That's been a couple of years now, and defense. I played defense.
Yeah.
You can't last very long. Defense is hard on the body, and that's why you see every couple of years new defensive stars in the league all the time, because it's a physical pounding you're taking.
Yeah.
So I like the direction they're going. Depending on what the Raiders do, I could say if they flip flop, if they take a step forward in the quarterback position. But again, it's a wait and see. They have the money. We'll see if they make some moves, or if they're staying in the no, we're going to draft and develop.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard because Vic Fangio's never been a head coach ever anywhere in his entire career. So there's really nothing for you to say, oh, he's got this track record, blah, blah, blah. Well, he doesn't. So you don't quite know what direction that's going to go, and you can't look at past precedent there. I agree, like front office wise, direction wise, what they're doing, I like it. Elway said something, I think it was today or maybe yesterday, but just recently, he wants to bring in a veteran to be behind Drew Lock, and he wants to, have just a presence there. So I think he's basically saying, he's invested and he wants to build around that and then go from there. They have a couple of nice young guys on offense. Philip Lindsay as a running back, and then they have a couple of, I think, Noah Fant and Cortland Sutton. So they have some pieces there on offense. But yeah, I think you're right. You hit it on the head. The defense should be their priority in terms of some of the age they have, and they have to address that. Maybe you bring in, and I don't think this is probably not a splash free agent signing team, right? I think I'm thinking about that a little bit. It's probably not that. Would you agree? It's not a splash free agent signing team.
No, I think if Elway sticks to his guns, I think, in the ownership says, yeah, we're going to be patient with you, I think they draft and develop.
Yeah.
And
more so than anywhere else, don't you think they would be patient with him? I mean, it's John Elway. It's hard for them to say, hey, Broncos legend, get lost.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's more so than anywhere else. You probably don't fire that guy quickly.
Right. So, again, I like the direction they're going.
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of a wait and see type of deal to see what Elway wants to do. Again, he has the money and the means to do pretty much whatever he feels he needs to do this year. If ownership says, hey, we're going to be patient with you and with the coaches and not rush to replace, I think Elway's going to draft develop. So then he has the salary cap money to sign those guys that develop into stars. So again, I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Moving along to the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah. I used to hate the Raiders. I mean, I used to hate the
Yeah.
Raiders. But I do love Las Vegas, and it's kind of like my second home. And I'm gonna be a fan of the teams in Vegas, so I'm gonna root for the Raiders.
It's your new team.
It's my new AFC team. Because guess what? It'll be great if they win.
Yeah,
but it's always fun when the dysfunction hits them.
That's true.
So
I don't think they can have any more dysfunction than they had last year with Antonio Brown being there, and just throwing a whole monkey wrench and everything at the beginning of the year. So
yeah, that was interesting. So you looked at the Raiders again, sitting well with salary cap space, $50 million. So they can add to what I think is a decent roster.
Yeah.
People were all over Gruden when he traded Amari Cooper, traded Khalil Mack. He's looking like a genius. He got all these draft picks. He has salary cap space. I mean, he can trade for a bona fide veteran if he wants to. He can go out and sign a guy. I think they do need to upgrade their offensive line because I think part of their problem was inconsistency in the running game last year.
Yeah.
I think they could use a couple playmakers on defense. But the only other question that I think they have to ask themselves is Carr a NFL quarterback that can win a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
He's a viable NFL quarterback. But I don't know if he can take the Raiders to the promised land. And we talked about this when we talked about the Patriots. And it's kind of going to overlap. Tom Brady has come out this week and said he will not be with the Patriots next year.
Right.
He will be somewhere else.
Right. He has been clear about that. So is that Las Vegas?
And he's been linked to the Raiders on multiple occasions.
Yes.
Personally, I would put fans in the seats. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
for
sure.
Is it going to take you from an average team to a Super Bowl contender? I don't think so. I don't think he's that level of quarterback anymore.
He's not.
If I was the Raiders, I'm telling you this right now. If I was the Raiders, because this came out today too, because we're getting up on close time, so we'll start throwing some of the stuff out there that came up this week. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say it. I hope anybody that listens to this, I was the first one to bring this up.
Oh boy, here we go.
The Lions are talking about trading Stafford. I brought that up.
Yes, you did. Several weeks ago now.
I see that. That tells me that the Lions don't want to dump his salary. They want to move on. The Lions are now at the Lions. If it's true that they want to move on from Stafford, are in total rebuild mode. Rebuild mode.
Yeah,
they are going to be one of the worst teams in the league next year.
As if they weren't that they were not that bad last year, but okay.
Will be gone. The whole thing's going to be torn down, just like the Silverdome was. If I'm the Raiders, I go with my extra draft picks. I tell the Lions, give us Stafford.
Yeah.
You go from an average team to a Super Bowl contender with him at quarterback. With the roster they have and the salary cap money they have, because your salary cap number between Carr and Stafford is almost identical.
Right.
So you might lose a little bit of cap space getting Stafford, but you're getting a much better quarterback.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, you've got a guy who has been stellar on a basically horrible team almost his entire career, minus a few bright spots, and that's about it. If you put him on that roster, I think you hit it on the head earlier when you were saying, they have a nice young running back, need an offensive lineman, just, get some depth, have some more consistency there. A couple playmakers, and they have the draft picks to do it. To pull this off, they have 7 picks in the draft, including 2 firsts and 3 thirds. I mean, they can easily maneuver to get something like this to happen, and then still have draft capital to pick somebody, and they have a bunch of cap space, like you just said.
Like I said, everybody was riding Gruden.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Riding him. They wanted to just go all Frankenstein on
Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper is horrible. Why'd you get rid of him? And nah.
Where are those people now? Where are he has positioned this franchise to, I think, in maybe not this season, but in 2021, overtake every team in that division.
Yeah. They have the potential to do it. They have the potential to do it. I don't care
if the Chiefs have Pat Mahomes. In 2 years, the Chiefs will not be able to maintain that roster because they got to pay Mahomes.
Right. Yeah, and Mahomes is amazing, great, but you got to keep all those other pieces too.
Right.
Yeah.
You get Stafford, who, I'm sorry, again, Mahomes, great quarterback. We'll get to them in just a few minutes. Right. Stafford is a wee guy. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, Mahomes, he's got his Super Bowl championship now.
Right.
Is he going to stay the wee guy, or is it going to go to a me guy?
Right. Yeah. He's been humble so far. But
you won a Super Bowl. And you're coming up for your contract.
Yeah.
You don't think he's going to be asking for top dollar in the league?
Of course he will. He's going to want more money than any other quarterback in the league, hands down.
Exactly, and that's going to put them in a bind.
Right, and they're going to pay him. I mean, let's just be honest. I know we're kind of crossing between teams right now, but who cares? They're going to pay him. Yeah. Yeah, this Raiders team is positioned, if they do the right things, to overtake the Chiefs and be on top of this division potentially. Maybe not this year, like you said, but maybe next year, the year after. Yeah, it's possible.
Well, yeah,
I like the direction they're going.
I really like. I think they finally have a stable stadium. They're gonna have a rabid fan base. When I was out in Vegas in December, I went past that stadium. It was only about half done. It was beautiful then. I mean, this is gonna be top notch.
Yeah.
I mean, it is gonna be. I can't wait because my timeshare has a place out in Vegas. I can't wait for the Super Bowl to be there. I am getting a room there. I don't even care if I don't have tickets for the game. I am going to Vegas that year.
Yeah. Well, you better invite me because I'm thinking I might have to go along here. Okay, just saying.
I will sit outside the stadium. I don't care. So, You have a city that's going to attract free agents, and here's the thing: you can tell free agents, guess what? If you take a little bit less money, there's plenty of opportunities here in Vegas for you to make up what you would make with other teams.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They will come to you.
Yeah. This is unlike some of the other moves we just talked about with other teams in this division, including the Chargers, who made the wrong move by leaving a loyal fan base in San Diego to go to Los Angeles. Most of the people probably didn't want that. There's only a few people that did. The league likes teams in LA. This was a bad move. The Raiders moving from Oakland to Los Angeles to Oakland to Los Angeles to wherever.
Right.
But now finally, like you said, moving to Vegas, perfect choice. great choice. I think it's going to work out for them from a fan perspective. I agree. No more black hole in Oakland, but I don't know. You'll have to come up with a casino, a slot machine hole or something. I don't know, a roulette wheel or something in Vegas, whatever you're going to call it. But yeah, that fan base is going to be behind them big time.
So yeah, and again, again, this is all kind of a wait and see type of thing because we're speculating, but I think we're in agreement. We love the direction the Raiders are going. They're obviously gonna cheer for the Packers, hometown team. Grew up with them.
Right. Yep.
The Raiders are my new AFC team. Don't care. Care. I wouldn't even be upset if they went from the silver and black to Vegas gold and black. I wouldn't. That'll never happen, but I wouldn't be upset. So let's move to the last team here.
Yep, the Chiefs. Yep,
the Chiefs. Again, we're gonna probably go maybe hour 15 minutes this week.
That's all right.
Last week. But again, a lot of stuff transpired this week. I mean,
we definitely
probably spend 2-3 hours talking about this stuff.
Right.
Which we could, but because we are not sponsored yet, we don't have the storage on Podbean for unlimited storage. So
correct.
And we'll talk about that off later. I might have a solution for that. But moving on to the Chiefs. Obviously, very talented roster, defending Super Bowl champions.
Yep. Defending Super Bowl champs, yep.
I think the biggest question for them is, can you retain who you have? And how do you start carving enough cap space for Mahomes? And I know they're probably not going to go and sign him to a deal this year, but you have to have the forward thinking to how are we going to pay him when the time comes? Because he's going into year 4, correct?
No, year 3. I think year 3.
No, he's in year 3.
I thought he was going into year 3. Didn't he win? This was his second year he won the Super Bowl, right? I'm pretty sure. He was the MVP. He won the Super Bowl his second year, and then this is his third year.
This is his third year because the first year they had Alex Smith. Alex Smith got hurt last year, and so I believe he's going to be going into his 4th year.
Well, I didn't think so, but either way, I guess the point remains that they need to think about how they're going to pay for him and not put themselves in a Dallas Cowboys situation where you're going to spend almost all of your available cap money on one player.
Right. So I just pulled him up here. 2017 was his rookie year. 2018 was his first year starting. Then this year, and then this coming season. So this coming season will be his 4th season in the league. His third year. Third year as a starter.
Gotcha. Okay.
They have 2 years left on his rookie contract. I'm telling you right now, he's going to want a contract at least by the end of this coming season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you try to get something done now with him, or wait?
Man, that's a tough question. I'd say, I'd probably say now, if you can, if only if it makes financial sense to do it now, because he's your guy. You should lock him up. I don't see why you wouldn't lock him up. If you can't though this year, then the problem is it becomes an absolute focus next year. So I'd almost say it'd be better sense if you could to do it this year, and then you remove that problem for the next 5, 6, whatever, how many years you sign him for.
And I agree with that, but I have a little bit of different take on that. Because here's the thing. If you find a way clear cap space this year, because they don't have much cap space.
No, they don't. They have cap
about
issues.
12, 13 million in cap space right now. If you can clear cap space, you sign him now, because I'll tell you right now, if you don't and you go and win back-to-back Super Bowls, his price tag just went up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because right now you can say, hey, boom, yeah, there's the potential there. We'll give you escalators and this, and bonuses if you win another Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But now if all of a sudden he comes to, hey, I'm back to back. We're back to back Super Bowl champs. I've won 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Right.
I'm off $15 million a year.
Right.
How are you gonna do that?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking at their salaries right now of players. Frank
Right.
Clark,
Right.
their top guy, at
Yep.
$22.7 million a year. Sammy Watkins, $21 million. Tyreek Hill, 17.5. The Honey Badger,
Yeah.
16. Eric Fisher, the left tackle, 14.9. Anthony Hitchens, 12.6. Travis Kelce, 11.2.
Yeah.
Their right tackle, 10.
Yep.
One of their guards, 8.9. Alex
Right. Right.
Okafor, 6.9. I
Yeah.
mean, then you got Patrick
It's
Mahomes
tough.
at
Yeah.
5.2. I mean,
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah.
you can't pay all these guys.
No.
You cannot. I'm telling you what, they're saying this is the next Patriots. I don't think so,
No. Not where they're sitting right now.
because this is a day and age people want to get paid, especially once they have that one title. They want to get paid. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of the purpose of playing in the NFL, is to get paid.
I mean, guys
So,
want to win championships first. Well, they did that, so
right,
now they want to get paid, right? Yeah.
right, absolutely. So, I I really really think um, I I think they can make a run at next year,
Sure.
but I think this is going to be a short window for them. Looking
Yeah.
at these salaries, holy cow!
Yeah.
I didn't think they were this hard up with the salary cap. I mean,
Yeah. It's bad. Yeah. It's a
it's
lot worse
bad.
than I thought too. Right. Yeah.
They
Yep.
have almost half the rosters making over $1 million a year right now, which is great for the players, but I maybe Andy
Yeah.
Reid's going to give her one more run with it, and then just see the writing on the wall and be like, I'm out.
Right.
I'm done.
Well, and that's what I wonder too. I mean, the interesting questions for this team are: do you get the deal done with Mahomes? And if you do, great. If you don't, well, then you got this huge ogre that's sitting there in the next year. Does Andy Reid stick it out for another year, another 2 years? How much longer is Andy Reid going to be coaching now that he got his Super Bowl championship finally? I don't know. I mean, this is a team that could have the roster to do well in the AFC, and I think they will. But then do they dip after this, or they're gonna have to let some guys walk? Maybe. I mean, like Sammy Watkins. I mean, he'd be a guy I would let.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just to me, he is overpaid for the level of play that he had. He's never been the guy who's been that stellar receiver that everybody always seemed to think he was going to be after he came out of college, and it just you've got other guys on that roster that you can utilize. He wasn't key in any one specific game that I can think of. He exploded in week 1 or something, and that was about it. So
Right. So it'll be interesting. It's really, really going to be interesting.
yeah,
Moving forward, I did not think they were in that bad a cap shape. If I am a Chiefs fan, yes, I'm celebrating we got another Super Bowl title. But for long term for long term.
Yeah. It's going to,
I'm a little
you have
on
your
edge.
franchise quarterback. It's just going to be tough, I think, this
Right.
year.
So, but we'll see. So, quick wrap up the AFC. I think now with all this news, we know Brady's not back with the Patriots.
Right.
I truly think that the Bills are the best team in that division.
Sure.
Right now, because the Patriots don't have a quarterback. Unless you sign a free agent. Over in the AFC North, obviously Baltimore.
Yeah. Yep.
The South.
Yeah, they're in the best position.
The South, depending on if they can re-sign Henry and Tannehill.
Yeah.
Titans. I think the Titans can overtake the Texans this year, and then
we got a resurgent Colts, and that's an interesting division, like we talked about.
And then in the West, we are in agreement that the Chiefs can hold on to the division this year, but it could be a short-lived reign as the Raiders are coming full force.
Right. And who knows? I mean, if the Stafford deal, if that's something, I was reading on this as we were talking. If that's something that actually got done, I mean, who knows what happens with that? I mean, they could take a bigger leap. I don't know. I love the idea of him being there.
Yeah, so do I. So we will see. We will have a lot to talk about after March Madness because we'll wrap up free agency because the big time free agent stuff will be done by the end of March. Because it usually lasts a week or two, and then all the real big, huge, important, big time signings and a lot of the big time cap space is done being spent. You might have some outliers here and there, but then we get into the draft. We could be also be like, holy cow, this team now is unreal. Should have a really good season, or oh my god, what did this team do? So, we see before we end this show, because again, we are closing down NFL talk here after tonight, and that is what it is. We can't always talk about the NFL, even though the NFL probably loves it when everybody talks about it. I'm
sure they do, yeah.
But I'm gonna just come with some headlines that have really have come up here lately.
Yeah, some big impact stuff.
I just saw this one, and these are more. We'll start with some more lighthearted stuff.
Sure.
Bears are committed to Mitch Trubisky in 2020.
I did their see starter. That.
Great for them. Yay, go Bears. The Vikings are saying, even though all the rumors, I live over by the Twin Cities, there are rumors galore.
Yep.
That Stephon Diggs wants out of Minnesota.
Yep.
The Vikings are saying, we are not moving him.
Yeah, they've been saying it for a while, but I think he's gone.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I think they're trying to not make it public, so then teams that they want to get rid of him, so then teams won't lowball them on trade offers. Giants are open to trading the number 4 pick, which I think is a good thing for them.
I agree.
They need picks. They need draft picks because that is a dumpster fire.
It is. Yep. I agree. That'd be a great idea, I think. Yeah.
Panthers coach Matt Rule, he wants to coach Cam Newton. I think that's a bad trailer to hitch to your wagon.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was like, he's definitely coming back. He's going to be in Carolina.
Don't know if I do that.
Yeah.
Before we get to one of our favorite teams to bash, quick talk about the NFL CBA agreement that we talked about last week. That is a no-go.
Yep.
The the reps for the NFLPA voted it down. Aaron Rodgers spearheaded and got that no voted because of the extra games.
Yeah.
Which and the playoff and the extra teams in the playoffs, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I was kind of curious when they said they were going to go 7 teams too. I thought if anything they'd go from 6 to 8 and not have any buys, or still keep 2 buys, and try to figure out something. But he said that the added game plus the loss of the bye for the second seed, and then some other off-season stuff with training programs, things like that, were the big reason that they voted no.
Right.
Which I really think the owners want that stuff because obviously extra game, more teams in the playoffs, more money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a no-brainer for the owners, yeah.
But, you know, that's not a good news for the NFL owners if the players are shooting that idea down.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I think you have to just say, you know what? Hey, okay, we'll stay status quo. Let's work on some other stuff, and then we'll revisit the added games, added playoff teams down the line, and we can always add that, modify the CBA if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not good for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that this isn't a huge story, but I was just gonna mention that Tony Romo thing we talked about earlier. You know, he gets $17 million to be an analyst. You know, it's funny because last year when the Patriots played the Chiefs, you know, I think there were a few people that maybe criticized him at other points when he was commentating, but he basically in that game called every single play that the Patriots were going to run, and then they ran it right afterwards as if he just had a crystal ball. I mean, to me, he guaranteed himself a spot, and this is funny, he gets paid so much for this analyst stuff, but don't you want the football analyst to actually know what the heck he's talking about for once?
You think. You
know, I mean, contrast that with another Cowboys quarterback, Mr. Troy Aikman, and that guy, I don't know of anybody that's ever said that he knows what he's talking about when he's horrible as an announcer. Tony Romo, great.
Imagine if they ever paired those two together.
Oh, my God. How horrible would that be? Oh, man.
So, yeah, that's amazing that somebody like that can get paid that much money to talk out of his rear end. So, you could give me $100,000 and I can do that for you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So, we will stay with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott. The Dak Prescott saga has begun.
Yes, it has.
There's so many stories here. Mike McCarthy has come out and said Dak Prescott is the quarterback to lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl title.
Yes.
Ooh, those are some big words.
There's some huge words. Huge words.
You kind of know that people are going to be aiming for him this year, no matter what he's get paid, whether he gets tagged or not. So I read an article. Dak is asking for $30 to $40 million a year.
Yep.
Is he worth it?
Well, is he your franchise quarterback? Is he the guy that Mike McCarthy says he is? If you believe that, then you almost have to pay him, don't you? I mean, I guess we talked about this before. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. Is he worth that kind of money? No. But if you don't pay him that, would some other team pay him that amount of money? And the answer to that is probably yes. I think somebody would, right? I mean, there's enough desperate teams in the league.
They're desperate teams, but I don't think a team would look at him right now and say, "You're worth $30 to $40 million. You're asking for more money than what Aaron Rodgers makes, than what Tom Brady makes."
Yeah,
and you haven't won anything.
No, he hasn't. But
so you're telling me that he's
logically no.
I just don't. I have a real hard time sitting here saying that I'm going to give Dak Prescott $30 to $40 million a year.
Right.
Because
I don't want to either. I wouldn't either. I mean, I wouldn't want to, but teams are dumb. There are certain teams out there that just make bad choices. I don't know. I almost feel like the Cowboys are one of them, though, too, right? I mean, they go about making bad decisions. They put a lot of talent on their roster, but they can't win. They can't even win their own division. I mean, they're just mediocre. They're mediocre with great talent. And they make poor choices, and I feel like they probably will end up paying Dak, don't you think?
I think they will. But, I mean, I would almost be tempted to do this. And, he's not going to want to do it. His agent's probably going to throw a hissy fit. The Cowboys don't really have a general manager. They do, but he doesn't really. He sits in his office, collects a paycheck.
It's Jerry Jones. Yeah.
It's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is going to go and sit there and say, I'll just write you a check. Or he's going to sit there and say, yeah, or he could be sitting there saying to the media and to the fans, Dak's our guy, Dak's our guy, Dak's our guy. But then in his office saying, we need to find a better quarterback. He's notorious for that.
He is, yeah.
Praising his players to everybody in the media and to the fans, but then bashing them off camera.
Right.
The other story I saw with the Cowboys, Tom Brady linked to the Cowboys. So
he's been linked to a lot of different teams, hasn't he? I mean,
he has. But I mean, usually if something comes out of the Cowboys, it's got some traction. Again, I don't think Tom Brady is a guy that's going to come into a team and take you from okay to Super Bowl contender. He's over 40 years old.
Right.
He's worn down. Take your money and retire.
Right.
Go home to your supermodel wife and live the rest of your life.
Right, exactly.
If not, trade places with me because
I'll do it. Exactly. I got it. I got it covered. I got it covered, Tom. Let me know.
But here's the thing: do you franchise Dak Prescott?
Well,
and then say, hey, at least make a playoff run, and then we'll pay you. Oh yeah, but by the way, we're gonna have Tom Brady breathing down your neck.
Right. Well, and they certainly could use the franchise tag on him. They've talked about that, and they've talked about using the transition tag on Amari Cooper. So, they're trying to lock some of these guys up with some of the tags, or at least pigeonhole them a little bit. And maybe you do that. I don't know. I think that's probably the way you go. They wouldn't franchise anyone else, I don't think.
No,
they're going to let Byron Jones walk, and there's no one else to franchise, I don't think, unless you did it to Cooper instead. But
I mean, and they have a lot of cap space. But again, we talked about this when we previewed the division.
Yeah.
You have to earmark almost half of that for Dak Prescott. If you don't, and you say we're going to tag him, what are you going to do? Go sign a bunch of 1-year deals and try to make a run this year?
Right.
I just don't see it. And you got to remember, I get Ezekiel Elliott's a great quarterback or a great running back. He's one of the
Right.
best in the league right now.
Yep.
He's only got probably 2-3 more great years left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Again, I think people they
get caught up in the running back thing. Yeah, they think,
and they see what he's doing right now, and
Right.
they forget how quickly they age.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's like, what happened to him? He aged.
He had a lot of miles on him. I mean, as a running back, he's going to put a lot of miles on him. So
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is going to be very interesting, I think, off season. So we'll see there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, this whole it's drama because to me, it's the Cowboys. They kind of breed drama when it comes to these types of things, but they also feed that by Jerry Jones makes a lot of those headlines because he keeps talking and shooting his mouth off about whatever, and so yeah, it's just going to keep going.
And that's not gonna. It's not going to change. Until Jerry goes beyond the living,
right?
And you actually have a front office there to control football operations.
Yeah.
So those, I think, are the big ones for me for the NFL. I don't know if there's any other headlines that really stood out to you.
There was one other thing I saw that I just had to laugh about because I thought it was kind of ridiculous, and I don't think it'll ever happen. That the Redskins would pick Tua and trade Dwayne Haskins.
But who's going to trade for Dwayne Haskins? Okay, I'll give you a 7th-round draft pick for him.
I don't know.
Nothing to us.
Right. I don't know. I saw that and I just started laughing, and I'm like, guys, what are you thinking with that?
It would not shock me because Ron Rivera has come out and said they like Dwayne Haskins, but they're exploring all options. That tells me you don't like Dwayne Haskins.
Right. Exactly.
You made a mistake. So yeah.
I mean, that's not on him, obviously, but
right. But that just continues the dumpster fire of the
for the
NFC
Redskins.
East.
Exactly. Yeah. I just looked at that and I'm like, okay, I just laughed.
The only team that's not a dumpster fire there is the Eagles.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
So I know the Cowboys are talented, but that's a dumpster fire there.
Yeah. It's not a roster that's going to win the Super Bowl. No question. Yeah.
So, well, we are about an hour and a half in here.
Yes.
That concludes NFL free agency preview. The next time we'll be talking about the league, we'll be reviewing NFL free agency quickly. We're not going to go division by division. Those be any notable things that
we saw. We talk about for that. Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about NCAA basketball. And I know this is one of your favorite topics.
It is. I love it.
And we will put out there as we talk about it. Obviously, we'll have a couple of weeks, and we're going to promote. I think maybe on ESPN or Yahoo, we will try to do a tournament challenge with listeners. So if you want to participate in that, please get a hold of us. You can email us, smacktalk2020@gmail.com. Send us a message through Podbean, through YouTube. Best way, though, would be to email because I get the notifications that we got a message.
Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I mean, that's nice. But, just, Yep.
And we will go from there. So,
Yeah.
want to thanks everybody for listening. We had some listeners today. Always, again,
Appreciate that. Yep.
continuing to move forward with this, and getting new listeners, new followers. That's always takes a little bit of
It's always good.
time.
It's always appreciated. Yeah.
And we will continue to provide our thoughts on sports throughout the world, because we will be talking Olympics
Yes.
later on. So if anybody has anything they'd like us to talk about, again, drop us a line. We'll put together some thoughts and get a segment together. And I think we're going to have a lot more as we really get going. We're going to have a lot more stuff we're going to start doing with this as we are starting to finally get in our groove.
That's right. I agree.
With this. So, again, thank you, everybody, for tonight. Lone Wolf, we will chat again.
Very soon.
We need to hop on the phone and talk about a few things, because I think we got some good stuff that we could add to this to take it to the next level.
Cool.
So I will talk to you later. Again, everybody, thank you. Have a great night. Have a great week. We will talk to you next
week,
Thursday.